Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we dive into the most pressing stories of the day. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm glad you're joining me for this episode. Today, we're going to explore the complex and often tumultuous relationship between U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The two leaders have long been seen as close allies, but recent developments suggest that their partnership may be facing some significant challenges. According to reports, Netanyahu is growing increasingly concerned about Trump's stance on several key issues, including Iran, Yemen, and the Gaza Strip. The Israeli Prime Minister has been a vocal critic of the Iranian nuclear deal, and he's been pushing for tougher action against Tehran. However, Trump's administration has taken a more nuanced approach, with some officials suggesting that they may be open to negotiating with Iran. Meanwhile, in Yemen, the U.S. has been bombing Houthi targets, but Netanyahu is said to be frustrated that the Americans aren't doing enough to support Israel's efforts to counter the rebel group. And in Gaza, the situation remains dire, with many Palestinians still living under siege and facing significant humanitarian challenges. Despite these tensions, Trump and Netanyahu have long presented a united front, with the U.S. president often praising his Israeli counterpart as a great leader and a true friend. However, some observers suggest that this friendship may be starting to fray, particularly given Trump's recent decision to skip over Israel during his upcoming trip to the Middle East. So what does all of this mean for the future of US-Israel relations? Will Netanyahu be able to find a way to navigate these challenges and maintain his close relationship with Trump? Or will the two leaders continue to drift apart? We'll be exploring these questions and more in the coming segments. For now, let's take a closer look at the latest developments in this story. The Israeli government has announced plans for a potential incursion into Gaza, which could have significant implications for the region. And with Trump's administration facing criticism from some quarters for its handling of the Middle East peace process, it's clear that the stakes are high. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara, and we're glad you're still with us. In our last segment, we explored some fascinating stories from around the world. Now, let's dive into our middle segment, where we'll be discussing a very interesting development in the art world. A Hong Kong-based gallery, Kiang Malingue, has just opened its doors in New York City, marking a significant expansion for the gallery. This move comes at a time when tensions between the U.S. and China are running high, and the global art market is experiencing a contraction. Despite these challenges, the gallery's founders, Edouard Malingue and Lorraine Kiang, remain optimistic about their decision. The gallery has long been known for championing multimedia practices, particularly video, which are less affected by tariffs. They plan to mount 3 to 4 exhibitions in their first year, with a focus on showcasing work from Asian diaspora artists. The prices of their artworks range from $5,000 to $300,000, making them more accessible to collectors who are looking for emerging talent. It's worth noting that the gallery's expansion into the U.S. market is not without its risks. The ongoing tariff war between the U.S. and China has already led to a decline in sales for some Chinese galleries. However, Malingue believes that this is precisely the time when dialogue and engagement with the public are most vital. The gallery's commitment to showcasing a diverse range of artists and mediums is commendable, and their residency program, which aims to invite artists to live and create in New York, is an innovative approach to navigating the challenges posed by tariffs. As the art market continues to evolve, it will be interesting to see how Kiang Malingue's expansion into the U.S. market plays out. It's also important to consider the broader implications of this development. The growth of Asian diaspora artists and their increasing presence in the global art market is a significant trend, that warrants attention. As we move forward, it will be essential to continue monitoring the impact of geopolitical tensions on the art world, and to support initiatives that promote cross-cultural understanding and exchange. That's all for this segment of Barbara's Bulletin. We've explored the complexities of Kiang Malingue's expansion into the U.S. market and highlighted the opportunities and challenges that come with it. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. We're closing out today's show with a developing story that's making waves in Eastern Europe. Reports are emerging that Ukraine has uncovered a Hungarian-operated spy network, attempting to obtain intelligence about its defenses. According to the Ukrainian Security Service, 2 individuals, both former members of the Ukrainian military, have been detained on suspicion of treason. Now, it's essential to note that Hungary is a member of the European Union and NATO, both of which are firm allies of Ukraine. However, Hungarian President Viktor Orbán has been criticized for his close ties with Russia, particularly since its invasion of Ukraine. The alleged spy network was reportedly established by Hungary's military intelligence, with the goal of collecting data on air defense systems in the western Zakarpattia region, near the Ukrainian-Hungarian border. The Ukrainian Security Service claims that the spies were also gathering information on public sentiment among local residents to predict their response in the event of a Hungarian incursion. While there's no indication that this alleged plot was directly related to Russia, it's clear that tensions between Ukraine and Hungary are running high. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó has dismissed the allegations as Ukrainian propaganda, urging caution and calling for official information before making any conclusions. The Hungarian government has not responded further to the claims. As this story continues to unfold, it's crucial to approach it with a critical and nuanced perspective. We must consider the complex web of alliances, interests, and historical context that underlies this situation. It's also important to remember that espionage and intelligence gathering are common practices between nations, but the alleged involvement of a NATO member state in spying on another ally is certainly noteworthy. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.